Last week we drove to the Netherlands to pick up the jet thruster for round 3.
So we're here at Jet Thruster's facility looking at our future bow thruster, which will be, I guess, the first gear that we're installing on our future boat.
Very powerful.
It was really interesting and we had a wonderful time. Back on the farm, we've been working on the bulkheads and the interior structure of the deck salon for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, my initial plan today was to start laminating the pieces for the day head. But I have decided that we just need to tidy up in here first. I know I say this every time, but this time it really looks like a mess in here. It's actually hard to walk around because there is stuff everywhere. And that slows us down and yeah, you just have to do it. So that will probably take me the whole day because there's a lot of stuff to sort out and move to the correct place. And yeah, just tidy up, vacuum the floors, get rid of all the trash and sort that out with plastic, carton, everything, and take that to the environment station. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but after you have cleaned up, it actually feels a lot easier to work. Also mentally on the boat, you get more motivated for some reason.
Our robot mower, Luba, has started working again after her winter rest.
So always a nice feeling to have it tidy out here in the barn again. It feels like, you know, you're starting off with a clean slate. Nice feeling. And the plan for today is to continue with those pieces for the day head, get those laminated. That semi-bulkhead, the side of that wet locker, and also the sole. Yeah, and hopefully I get all of those pieces done today so we can start getting them glued in place tomorrow. It's just a tiny bit too wide. So the problem is in this corner, it's supposed to be flush with this wall and it's not. And yeah, as you can see, there's a gap here now, and that's one of the effects that because I have changed the design here. So I need to fill that in with another piece, which is not a problem, but we need to tab those edges where the pieces are joined together. So a bit more work, but it'll be okay. Yeah, so another cut, and then I think this will fit. Yeah, later on we'll make a cut here, something like this. This is where the step will begin, flush with the wall underneath here. But it might be that I want to have a bit of an overhang, so I will wait with this cut for now until I have the exact measurements of the steps here. So another space taking shape. Obviously there is a lot left to be done here, but you get a feel for it now, and I think the size is very good. And it was a good decision to get the sole up a little bit. I checked inside the guest cabin and it made actually a big difference in there. Now we can have a bit thicker mattress, and that means that the bed will be wider, so that's good. Yeah, and the size in here is really good as well. Small sink, the actual head, the wet locker, and some steps down into the utility room. Yeah, this is the top of the wet locker. So we'll have a hinge roughly around here, and we'll have like a top that you can fold up. Then we can hang wet clothes in there. We'll have some hot air in there to dry the clothes, and it will also be drained from any water dripping down. So we've been thinking a lot lately on what step to take next in the build. And yeah, I said this many times, but since this is the first time we're building a boat and it's a one-off and it's not in an industrial setting, there's not always a straight answer to that question, which step is the best to take next. And since we don't have the luxury of a lot of experience of building boats in the past, we have to, think things through and, make a decision on what we think is the best next step in the build. There's not a lot of people to ask because, most people that are working with building boats do that in an industrial setting, which is very different from what we're doing, building a one-off. And even if there are people that have built boats, they have often only built one for themselves, and that could be very different from the boat that we're building. So there's not often a very straight answer to this, but I think we have landed in that the next step in the build will be the deck here up front. This will be like the test area for the interior, for the rest of the boat. And I think we will also learn a lot from building the deck here, and later on also the interior here of the master's cabin. How we're going to do the installations of the hull, what material or paint system we're going to have on the bulkheads. Lots of different decisions. And as you can see here up front, we have a pretty wide span here between this watertight bulkhead and the one in the aft here. Up front, I don't think it would be a problem because we're going to have like a sandwich deck, which is very stiff in itself. But here it's a pretty wide area, and I think we need to support the deck with some deck beams underneath the actual deck. So the plan is to build 2 deck beams, one roughly somewhere around here, and the next one around here, just to help that sandwich panel that will go across here with some extra support from underneath, because we don't want to have any flex in the deck. It should be a strong and really stiff construction. I plan to do these deck beams from PET foam together with carbon fiber. So I've changed my mind on the deck beams, and instead of using the PET foam as a core material, I have decided to make them from oak instead. This is just a way to save some of the ceiling height in there, because with the PET foam I had to have a pretty tall beam, around 100 millimeters. And by using oak instead, I can cut that in half, so 50 millimeter tall beams. I will still have the carbon fiber on this to make them even stiffer. But with the much higher shear strength of the oak, it's possible to go down a lot in thickness. So the only penalty will of course be a bit heavier beams, but it's only 2 of them, so the penalty in total will be quite small. And it is important to have a really strong deck up there, so I don't want to, compromise on this. So now I will just cut this to length and put it through the planer, and then it's time to use the shaper for those 2 cutting files. And I'm hoping that this plank is wide enough so I can cut both of the beams next to each other with only this one plank. You could of course save some material by making laminated deck beams instead, and they are also a bit stronger. But in this case, since I'm using carbon fiber on top of this, it will be plenty strong even without that, and it will be a lot faster. I just messed up with the router. See here, the whole piece cracked, the big piece just flew off. So now I'm missing a big chunk of wood here, so I can't really use this. So I'll have to make a new one. Really annoying. But that's how it is some days, and it's never fun when it happens. But before I start working on a new piece, I think I'm going to take a break. So I think I'm pretty pleased with how they look now, since I'm going to have carbon on top of them. Yeah, now I'm just going to wipe them down with some alcohol before I start laminating. And my initial thought was to use vacuum bagging, just to put carbon on all four sides and put them in a bag. But yeah, after some thinking, I decided that I'm not going to do that. And the reason is that these has the exact curve from the 3D drawing now. And there's a slight chance when I put these in a vacuum bag, even if the pressure is the same from all directions, that the pulling from the vacuum bag will change the shape slightly on these beams, because they're not that thick, so there's still some give in them. And I don't want to risk changing the curve on these, so instead of vacuum bagging, I have decided to just use normal hand lamination with unidirectional carbon fiber and peel ply on top of that.
It kind of looks like Johan is making a giant sushi roll. Now it looks like it starts to get a bit messy.
Well, that was a very messy procedure with that plastic sticking to the laminate when I turned it around. And I have just wrapped the whole thing now with what I think is called clinging plastic in English, just to try to consolidate the laminate a bit more, since I'm not vacuum bagging this, hold it together. So I'll continue with the next piece, and I'll try to make it a bit less messy this time. I'm not sure how, but I'll try.
Looking at this now, I think Johan should have taped down the plastic to keep it in place. But I wasn't there doing it.
Well, the second one went a lot smoother and faster and a bit less messy this time as well. So it's already late this week and Malin has to edit this video as well. So this is it. You have to come back next Friday to see the result of this. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching. And as always, a massive thank you to all of you who support our videos. And if you're interested in that, there is always a link to our Patreon page in the description below. See you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.